If you don't understand yet the responsibility, then it is still not your responsibility. Or when you come to Islam, when people come here and they say the Shahada in the mosque, I always tell them that saying this, of course, with it you've now accepted a responsibility upon yourself as well. You've said that I believe in this thing and I understand this to be true. Now you have to act upon that knowledge as well. So you can't just say it and then leave and nothing changed in your life. So that's why here we come to the realization, after we realized all these things and this blessing that we've been given by Ar-Rahim, from the special mercy of God, Iyaka na'budu, you alone do we worship. Of course, here Iyaka has been translated as you alone do we worship. It's put in brackets, you alone, because of course alone is not the specific meaning of Iyaka, even though some scholars have argued for that. But Iyaka is simply another way of expressing you, we worship you in Arabic. Because usually, of course, the more general construct for this would be that the you would come as a suffix after the verb na'budu. So na'buduka. So anta, na'budu anta. In Arabic, we worship you. The anta becomes a suffix in Arabic language. You cannot say na'budu anta. Na'buduka, we worship you. This is how we generally say it in Arabic. Oh, ra'aytu means I saw. Then I want to say I saw you. Ra'aytuka. Yeah? I don't say in Arabic ra'aytu anta. So the anta is of course you, but when I want to use it as an object of the verb, I put it as a suffix in the end of the verb. Ra'aytuka. Na'buduka, we worship you. But it is also possible to attach it to iyaka. Iya itself doesn't have meaning per se, although some scholars have sort of argued that it means it limits that thing. So if I want to say iyyaka ra'aytu, I saw you, meaning I only saw you, I didn't see, for example, your brother or someone else. There's been that argument, but in a more general way, of course, it's just another way of sort of preceding the prefix to that thing.
So iyaka means puts the singularity of a thing or a person.
Singularity.
Like he's singleness, not singularity, just singleness. Like if I call iyaka, it means only one person, right?
Some have argued for this. They have argued for that iya has the sort of ma'ana al-inhisar, the meaning of limitation, but this is not a general consensus that this is what it would mean, because I could say iyaka ra'aytu wa iyaka wa iyaka wa iyaka. I saw you and you and you. It is correct, but why it precedes it here? Well, of course, grammatically or like linguistically, it sounds much nicer than say na'buduka wa nasta'inuka. It's not a very beautiful, eloquent way of expressing that.
If we say na'buduka, it means a single person again, or single entity.
Yeah. Anta is singular, you as in singular, not you as in plural. In English, of course, we don't. But in Arabic, of course, we have a difference between you plural and you singular. So anta, you singular, antuma, you dual, and antum, you plural.
Yes.
But no, here you singular, of course. Yeah, Allah is one. We would not say antum about God. Of course, we use Arabic. We use antum for politeness, like in Farsi we say shama, plural, even though we mean a singular person. Or in Finnish we say te. We don't have that in English. We don't have that you, plural, for being polite. But we don't use it for God. We don't say antum rabbi rabbuna or arbabuna or something like that. No, we use always singular for God to emphasize that He is one. But yeah. As I said, some scholars have argued that the iyaka na'budu here and wa iyaka nasta'in has the meaning of sort of limiting it, that we only worship you and we only call you to help. However, there is not a consensus on this. Of course, probably the more obvious reason for this expression is that it's just a more eloquent way of expressing it. So, Maliki yawmiddin, na'buduka wa nasta'inuka. It doesn't sound nice, yeah. But Iyyaka na'budu wa Iyyaka nasta'in. It sounds much nicer and has the rhyme as well of the in and the end.
Is it because we have been reading it for a really long time?
No, of course it's a rhyme, so the rhyme would differ. So the rhyme scheme in this is the sort of in, yeah. And
What the other one would be? How would the other one be?
Na'buduka wa nasta'inuk. It completely changes.
True.
Yeah. So, of course, the Quran has many instances where word orders are played with, and so on and so forth, to accommodate rhymes, the rhyme scheme. Yeah, so it's not strictly poetry, of course, the Quran, but it's not prose either. So there is always that rhyme scheme going throughout it, even though it doesn't have the meter of poetry. But yeah. Iyaka na'budu, only you we worship, and of course the reason why we, as I said, we come to this conclusion is because we have realized the sort of the majesty of God, and we said that the meaning of Allah itself was that the one who deserves to be worshipped. So once we realize that God is who He is, then, as I said, our reaction is we want to worship Him. We want to sort of submit to Him. And of course, everything in the universe submits to God, whether it wants to or not. As we have in Surah Maryam, in kullu man fis samawati wal ardi illa ati ar-rahmani abda. That there is no one in the universe except all of them come to God as a servant. So illa ati ar-rahmana abda. They all come to the merciful. They all come to God as servants in submission to Him. So whether we want to or not, of course, we are all submitted to God. However, what gives value to that submission is when it is by choice. Yeah? When we decide to submit to God. Otherwise, if we rebel against that natural order, of course, as we have in Dua al-Qumar, لا يمكن فرار من حكومتك. You can't escape the kingdom of God. At the very end, on Yawmuddin, that's why Allah emphasizes Maliki Yawmuddin. On the Yawmuddin, you will realize that there was no escaping it. I thought I was free from His kingdom. I thought I was free to do whatever I wanted, and so on and so forth, and there would be no recompense for my actions. And I thought that there was no one above me, and I am the most high of all kings, and I have no one to answer to. At the very end, you will realize it on Yawmuddin, of course. But this sort of rebellion against the natural state of things, to rebel against your natural state of submitting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this of course hurts the one who is rebelling. It doesn't hurt God, it hurts me. I'm the one who has to suffer from that rebellion. إن الذين يستكبرون عن عبادتي سيدخلون جهنم داخرين. As we have in Surah Al-Ghafir, that certainly those who turn away in pride, يستكبرون عن عبادتي, turn away in pride from worshipping me, think of themselves as being above my worship. يستكبرون, to feel yourself being above something. سيدخلون جهنم داخرين, they will enter into the hellfire. So this sort of rebellion against the natural order, that's what causes the person to enter into hellfire. Because you cannot enjoy anymore the blessings of the mercy of God if you are not willing to live according to this natural order of things. Yeah? This is a very important point, that that hell is not a punishment in the conventional sense that we think of punishments. This is sometimes people ask this question that, okay, someone sins in this world, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 60 years, 100 years, they do lots of awful things. But then is it sort of justice to put them into hellfire for 1,000 years, for 10,000 years, for 100,000 years, for a million years, is it a sort of a just recompense for their action? As the Quran says, it is a just recompense for their action. So some people question, is that really justice? Is that sort of what justice would call for? That, okay, you did some evil things here for however many years, then you have to suffer for all this time. So of course that's not the conventional, that's why we can't think of hell as a conventional punishment. So the best example is that, if I cross the street, I might have given this example before. If I cross the street and the right light is red and the police stop me and they break my legs, and they say this is a punishment for crossing the street when the light was red, I would say the punishment doesn't fit the crime. It's unjust punishment. According to what I did, this is not how much I should be punished. I have to spend the rest of my life, with broken legs, or however many months. But now if I cross the street and a car hits me, the right light is red and a car hits me and I break my legs, and I have to spend the rest of my life in a wheelchair, then can I say this is like injustice? No, it's because this is a natural consequence. I have rebelled against the order set. I have decided not to obey the rules that have been set, and I have to bear the consequences of those actions. And that's why Allah says all the time in the Quran that the day of judgment is the day when you have to face the consequences of your actions. Not that He is punishing you in that conventional sense, but it's like, don't you think that there will be a day when you will see the consequences of these actions? They will come as a natural result. And this is what you have done. مَا قَدَّمَتْ يَدَاهُ, what His own hands has set forth. It's not that Allah will then punish them in that sense. It's because this is what you have brought forth. This is what you have caused to yourself. This is the calamity that you have put yourself in. What?
Byproduct.
It's a byproduct. It's not a byproduct. It is the result. It is the result of your actions. You have decided to act in this way, and now you have to answer. You have to bear the consequences. And that's why Allah warns us. That's why He gives us all these warnings and all these chances and all these reminders in our life, to constantly try to stop us from some sort of going astray.
But then why do God say that we punish you because of His wrath? That is a result of His wrath.
I'll come to that. Yeah, what does it mean, the wrath of God, in the last verse?
If it's a consequence of our own action, then it should not be because of His wrath. It's not His ego, right?
Yes, we'll talk about what the wrath of God means, inshallah. It's a very good question. We'll come to that.
I want to, maybe we have gone through this before, but I would ask it again. There are some scholars who say that, people who are Muslim, or maybe if Shia scholars say that if they are Shia, they will stay in the hell for a limited amount of time, then they will go to heaven, or the amount of time which is prescribed for them to stay in the hell, and then they will go to
not just Shias, we have all Muslims in general, that anyone who is a Muslim, even if he was a sinner, or we have anyone who believed in the oneness of God, or we have anyone who even for one, did one sajda in his life, etc., etc. We have all these narrations that say that, basically if there is any hope of redemption for that person. Of course, the idea of hell is that, as I said, it's not that Allah wants to punish in that sense. Of course, justice demands punishment, but more in the sense that, as I said, it's not possible for that person to live with others because they're disturbing the natural order of things. So if heaven becomes, all of creation becomes heaven on the Yawm al-Din, then, evil and good, we're going to talk about this more a bit later, but we're going a bit ahead. But evil and good are now mixed in this world, isn't it? Right now they're mixed. But on the Day of Judgment, Allah wants to separate them. Yawm al-Fasl, that's the name of the Day of Judgment, the day of separation, when evil and good are separated from each other. Why? Because that evil is now polluting the world. Why do we have all these, what's the source of most of our suffering in this life? It's the evil that we are causing, that's polluting this world. Why are people going hungry? Yes, sometimes there's natural disasters, but most of the time it's because we're not sharing what we have. we're having more than our fair share. Some of us are having more than their fair share, and that doesn't leave enough for the others.
Yes.
So this is the sort of reason for our suffering. So, on the Day of Judgment, to be able to have paradise where everyone gets what they want and everyone is happy and can pursue, the good things without being hindered by the evil people or hurt by the evil people, you have to separate the evil. It has to be.
Yeah.
So Allah says that He will separate that evil and He will lock it away into hell on the Day of Judgment. Put it all on top of each other. And He will put it on top of each other and lock it in there so it's separated from the rest of creation. Because these are the ones that sort of couldn't play by the rules, or they're disturbing that natural order. So they need to be separated there. Yeah, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ, you only we worship, of course. When we realize that God is the one, then we don't want to worship anyone else. We don't want to pursue other things. Of course, it's not easy, to say we just want to worship God and we want to only commit to Him. It's easier to say it, but to actually do it is very hard. Yeah. So, of course, for that we need the help of God. إِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ, and we call you to help. We ask you to help us in this decision. So I've realized that you have blessed me with guidance, and I want to sort of do what that guidance demands of me, which is to worship you. However, I need your help for that. Of course, as well, the إِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ is also there to sort of take away any presumptuousness from the statement. You only we worship you. I only worship you, Allah. It might sound a bit presumptuous, isn't it? That, I'm so devoted to you. I only worship you and you are my sole focus. So it also takes that presumptuousness away from that statement that okay, I only worship you, of course, with your help. If you give me the blessing to do that, then I only want to worship you. I want to dedicate myself only to your service. So, of course, here the plural is used. We worship and we call it help. Mm-hmm. Of course, I'm the one now sort of reading this dua. When I'm reading it for myself, I'm reading the surah, I'm making this dua. I'm the one coming into this realization. So why is the plural used there? Of course, it's to emphasize the sort of social aspect of the faith as well. That it's a nod. It may be somewhat subtle, but it's a nod towards the fact that it is not enough. If I have realized that there is a God and I want to sort of worship Him, it's not enough that I think, okay, I'm just going to concern myself with my own relationship with God. And as long as I'm a good person and I do the right thing, that's enough, So it's a reminder that no, we have to worship you. We call you to help. We do it together. The worship of God is something that is not to be done only alone. Yes, worshiping God alone has great merit and great value. When you do it alone, it's great. Praying Salat al-Layl and all these things. When no one else sees you do it, it's very valuable. But religion is not something, and the worship of God is not something that we can only limit it to our private lives. This is sort of what, of course, Western secularism is trying to say, that religion should be a private affair and everyone do it in your own home, but don't bring it to a church, or don't make it organized, or don't do it with other people, or don't bring it into society in that sense. Mm-hmm. You keep it to yourself. Islam, of course, categorically rejects this. That no, religion is a social affair. It is the most important social function and social driver in a society, and we have to do it together. So the hundreds of narrations that we have, praising the value of Jama'ah prayer, that praying alone, great, praying together, so much better. 3 people, even better. 4, 5, 6, 7, then you can't even count anymore how much more valuable it becomes, that prayer. So to do it together, praying the Jama'ah together, worshipping God together, building mosques, structuring our society around religion, teaching others religion, doing Amr bil Ma'ruf, all these social aspects that we have in Islam. So these are, of course, very important, and we can't sort of forget that. And of course, in addition to the rejection of sort of secularism, there is a rejection of individualism inherent in this idea as well. Individualism also says that, okay, what's the most important thing is I pursue happiness for myself. I pursue good ends for myself, isn't it? So Islam rejects this. Islam says that this is selfishness. In essence, this is selfishness. That morality cannot be limited to the pursuits of personal happiness. Morality requires altruism. It requires that you care for the well-being of others as well. If I believe that something is good for me, I should want it for my neighbor as well. I should want it for my brother and my sister and my friend and other people in society as well. So this sort of individualism and this idea of sort of pursuing my own happiness is not something that Islam accepts. Then it continues, اهدنا الصراط, and of course in all this we need the help of God, isn't it? إياك نستعين. So all these affairs we need the help of God, and we need to help each other towards the path of God. Then it continues, اهدنا الصراط المستقيم, guide us on the straight path. Of course, as I mentioned, when we say إياك نعبد, we only want to worship you, immediately follows logically إياك نستعين, we call you to help. And what is that help that we want from God? Well, it's very clear from the context of what came before and after, that we need His help to worship Him, to stay on that straight path. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم, guide us to the straight path. Naturally, of course, here this prayer is not of someone who feels that they don't know God, or they don't know, they haven't recognized the guidance that has come from God to them. This is the prayer of someone who feels that they know that there is a God and I must worship Him, but is afraid of being able to stay or live up to the requirements of that faith. Yeah? So, اهدنا الصراط المستقيم is not a guide us on the straight path that I don't know where that path is. I know where that path is, but to walk that path, I need help. I need guidance. And that's the reality of the Sirat al-Mustaqim, the straight path. That even though it's straight and it's not a path that winds, and of course, if you've gone to London and it's got these old roads, where you go and then suddenly turns around and comes back to where you started. These are winding paths that you're easy to get lost in, isn't it? It's a Sirat al-Mustaqim. It's like in London, the Oxford High Street. You just go straight. You can't get lost. Just go straight. It's easy in that sense that okay, this is the way. But again, like that Oxford High Street, there's distraction. There's shops on the way. It's easy to, okay, let me just go have a peek. What's going on in here? Oh, what's over here? There's some street artists, Okay. It's easy to lose your focus from that path. So the straight path, it requires a lot of determination and dedication.
Focus, yeah.
And
it's like going up on a mountain or something.
Yeah, it's also sometimes described in the Quran as the aqaba, the uphill road. Yeah. وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا الْعَقَبَةُ, and what would make you know what is the uphill road? فَكُّ رَقَبَةٍ أو إطعام في يوم ذي مسقبة يتيما ذا مقربة أو مسكينا ذا متربة. That the freeing of a slave, or to feed the orphan who is near of kin to you, or the miskin, the destitute person who has nothing, on the day of difficulty.
Okay.
And not on the day of ease, on the day when you also have more than enough. But the day when you have little and you don't have enough to eat, you think, okay, I still need to take care of my neighbor as well. I need to look after my orphan, family member, and so on and so forth. That's the difficulties that is entailed in the Sirat al-Mustaqim, the Aqaba, and of course that's why those who were on the path of guidance prayed the most to stay on the path of guidance. They paid the most for the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This Surah Al-Fatiha is read by all Muslims. Even the prophets and the imams read this. Well, at least our prophet and the imams read this surah, isn't it? And Allah says about our Prophet, إِنَّكَ عَلَى صِرَاطٍ مُسْتَقِيمٍ. You are on the straight path. You're on it. But he had to read Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim. More than us, it was required for him. Even more than us, it was wajib for him to read this surah. Salat al-Layl is mustahab for us. For him, it was wajib. We have to read Surah Al-Fatiha a minimum of 10 times per day. He had to read more than that. He had to read the Salat al-Layl as well. Yes, it was wajib for him.
Yeah.
So, the one who is on the guidance must strive even more to stay on that guidance, of course.
Yeah. A question.
Yeah.
Like whenever I finish my prayers, I the same dua I make to God, help me God to stay on the right path. But the doubt that comes into my mind that I'm not doing enough and asking God again and again to not doing enough effort and asking God to please help me. And I think, am I being a hypocrite? Asking God to help me and still I'm not doing enough effort.
No, we of course ask God to help us. إِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. Only we ask God to help. And of course, الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. That all praises to God who guided us to this truth. And we would never have been guided had God not guided us. The key factor in faith is that it doesn't increase a person in takabbur, in pride, but rather it increases one in humility. That okay, God, you guided me, and anything that I have done, I don't take solace in my actions.
Yeah.
I do not become certain of my future because of my faith or my actions. But rather. I am, in a state of self-doubt in that sense, that I doubt what is my future, and I admit and I understand that any good I did is because you helped me to achieve these good things. Otherwise, it wouldn't. And also, of course, we never know which of our actions are accepted by God. Which ones did we do truly for Him? Which ones were those that gained His pleasure? And so on and so forth. So yes, al-mu'minu bayn al-khawfi wal-raja. The believer is always between fear and hope. He's always fearful of entering into hell, but he never loses hope. He is always hopeful of going into heaven as well. This is the place where you should be. And inside joke.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, he said that to me as well. So. Yeah, of course. It is very true, that we should never be certain of going to Jannah, going to paradise. That's a road to it's the beginning of the path of perdition. That once you think that, okay, I'm certain I'm going to heaven, I don't need to do anything anymore, I can relax, and that leads one to being vain and being proud and so on and so forth. So yeah, no. Definitely not. So the more we feel that we are blessed with guidance, the more we must pray for guidance. Guide us on this faith. وَيَزِيدُ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ اهْتَدَوْا هُدًى. Allah increases those in guidance who seek guidance. So of course faith has degrees as well. So if I feel that I have found some truth and I have found a way towards God and I've gotten closer to Him, then I have to be thankful for that guidance, and I have to strive to get even closer. Allah's attributes, I mentioned this in one of the lectures at some point, I think, that Allah's attributes are infinite, and we're always striving to get closer to Him. Because He is infinite, the journey is infinite as well. We're never going to reach that end of that journey. Our journey towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this path towards Him, is an infinite journey. We're always getting closer and closer to Him. Yes, we can also quickly mention what is meant by Sirat al-Mustaqim. We have two verses that we can quote in the Quran where Allah describes what is meant by Sirat al-Mustaqim a bit. In An'am He has قُلْ إِنَّنِي هَدَانِي رَبِّي إِلَى صِرَاطٍ مُسْتَقِيمٍ دِينًا قَيِّمًا مِلَّةَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ حَنِيفًا وَمَا كَانَ مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. Say that certainly my Lord has guided me to the straight path. What is the straight path? دِينًا قَيِّمًا, the upright religion. مِلَّةَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ حَنِيفًا, the nation of Abraham, who was a Hanif, who worshipped the one God. وَمَا كَانَ مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ, he was not a mushrik. So here, of course, Sirat al-Mustaqim is described as the opposite of shirk, the submission to one God, Tawheed. Sirat al-Mustaqim is the belief in Tawheed. In Surah Yasin we have أَلَمْ أَعْهَدْ إِلَيْكُمْ يَا بَنِي آدَمَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا الشَّيْطَانَ. Did I not take an oath from you, O Bani Adam, that you should not worship Shaitan? إِنَّهُ لَكُمْ عَدُوٌ مُبِينٌ. Certainly he is a manifest enemy to you. وَأَنِ اعْبُدُونِي هَذَا صِرَاطٌ مُسْتَقِيمٌ. And that you should worship me. This is the هَذَا صِرَاطٌ مُسْتَقِيمٌ. This is the straight path. So here in Surah Yasin, the straight path is described as the worship of God. So of course, taking these two together, we understand that Sirat al-Mustaqim, that we're asking Allah to guide us, is the ma'arifah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, understanding His unity, understanding His attributes, what it means that God is one. And of course, to worship Him, to have the actions. So faith and actions, as we have in the Quran, constantly being repeated. This is the path towards salvation. So we ask that Allah increases us in faith and in actions. That's the meaning of Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim in a nutshell. Yeah.
Also, it has this Ihdina Sirat, so Sirat can be Ila Sirat and Fis Sirat. So Ila Sirat is something that you mentioned in the beginning, the first ayah. So it's like the upright religions. And Fis Sirat is like all the details of the religion and the practical and theoretical or any kind of knowledge related to religion.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's good.
Yes. Very good.
It's like
Yeah. Then last verse we'll try to finish up. I know everyone's a bit tired. It's very warm as well on Sunday. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. So what is the straight path? It's defined here as well in the next verse. Very beautifully. The path of those who you have blessed them. أنعمت عليهم. أنعمت from ni'mah, from blessing. غير المغضوب عليهم. Not the path of those who have incurred your wrath. ولا الضالين. And nor those who have gone astray. Of course, the straight path, the Sirat al-Mustaqim, is the path of those who Allah has blessed. Of course, blessing here is referring, well, you tell me, referring to the blessing of Rahman or Ar-Rahim?
Rahim, yeah.
So it's coming the full circle in the surah. The theme we started with, now we're sort of coming to that realization of that theme, which is that, of course, the ni'mas, the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are manifold, And we might look at people in this world and think, oh, why has Allah given him all this wealth and all these good things? And he's such an evil person, Why bless him in this way? Of course, that's not the true blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The true blessing comes from Ar-Rahim. It comes from this name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And therefore, what is meant by An'amta alayhim is not that, oh, Allah make me like Bill Gates, put me on the path of those who have blessed like Bill Gates. No, when we say An'amta alayhim, the ones you have blessed, who do we mean? Who do we?
Imam Ali.
I mean the prophets, the imams. Yeah. So these are the ones that An'am Allahu alayhim, that Allah has sort of given them His blessing, as He says in the Quran, وَمَنْ يُطِعِ اللَّهَ وَالرَّسُولَ. Whoever obeys Allah and the Messenger, فَأُولَٰئِكَ مَعَ الَّذِينَ أَنْعَمَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِمْ. They will be with the ones. Whoever obeys Allah and the Messenger, they will be with the ones that Allah has blessed. مِنَ النَّبِيِّينَ, from the prophets, وَالصِّدِّيقِينَ, and those who are the Siddiqs, the ones who testify to the truth, وَالشُّهَدَاء, and the ones who are the martyrs, وَالصَّالِحِينَ, and the ones who are good doers, وَحَسُنَ أُولَٰئِكَ رَفِيقًا, and how good friends these people are. Yeah? So this is the ones who Allah has blessed, and these are the ones we need to seek to be with. These are the ones who we need to sort of gather with. Our examples, of course, being the prophets and the imams, but also, again, coming to that, as we said, the social aspect. To surround ourselves, to go on a path, choose a path with people, walk the path of our life with people who are also trying to walk towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not people who will take us to another direction, who will take us astray from this path, further from this. Surround yourself with people who are on this journey with you.
Yes.
Not people who will drag you back from this journey or make you stop or will try to distract you from that. And so the social aspect coming as well there. Yeah, we have a hadith from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. He says, Sirat alladhina anamta alayhim, yani Muhammadan wa dhurriyatahu salawatullahi alayhim. This means Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and his progeny. May the blessings of Allah be upon them. So, of course, as we have in some narrations, they say, that Imam Ali is the Sirat al-Mustaqim, Ana Sirat al-Mustaqim, I am the Sirat al-Mustaqim, etc. Of course, these are all in the form of mistaq. These are instances of people who are God. An'am Allahu alayhim. So if we have in narration that Imam Ali is the Sirat al-Mustaqim, of course meaning that he is an example of those who Allah has blessed.
Yes.
He is an exemplar in this path.
Yes.
Like all the prophets for us, like all the Imam. غَيْرِ الْمَغْضُوبِ عَلَيْهِمْ. Now we come to the question that you asked, that except the ones that Allah has been angered with. I forgot what exactly you had asked. Which one of you asked? Yeah.
You said that the punishment in the hereafter.
Because of the anger of God.
So,
Of course, generally we think of anger as a negative quality for a person to have, isn't it? Of course, Allah tells us in the Quran to be, كَاذِمِينَ الْغَيْظِ, to be the ones who, swallow their anger. And, getting angry is seen as a quality of someone who's not sort of patient or in control of their emotions, etc. Of course, there's different types of anger. So, anger in the sense of vehemently disliking something, being thoroughly displeased with something. When it is for justice, when it is because of justice, is not only a quality that is acceptable, it is a divine quality. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself becomes angry.
Okay.
Of course, anger when it is out of emotions, when it makes one lose control or makes one act unjustly or unfairly, or contrary to the dictations of morals and good behaviors and good morals, that's bad. That's an anger. If I and punch someone and this is not good anger. But anger in the face of injustice, if I see that, I get angry when I see, Israel murder Palestinian children. This is a righteous anger.
then can we go?
Yeah, no, of course, not losing control and I punch someone or I say, I become anti-Semitic. All those Jews, That's bad. This is not. Unfortunately, we see some of our Muslim brothers sisters do this. They let their anger take control of them, and it goes into bad. It goes from the good anger to an evil anger, the anger of a satanic sort of anger. So that, becoming racist or anti-Semitic or something like that because of something. This is not correct. Yeah. But anger in the sense that you are displeased by injustice. This is something that is not only a good quality, it's the quality of our prophets, it's the quality of our imams. They became angry when they saw injustice. But it is a quality of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well. Allah says in Surah Al-Fath, وَيُعَذِّبُ الْمُنَافِقِينَ وَالْمُنَافِقَاتِ وَالْمُشْرِكِينَ وَالْمُشْرِكَاتِ الظَّانِّينَ بِاللَّهِ ظَنَّ السَّوْءِ عَلَيْهِمْ دَائِرَةُ السَّوْءِ. And Allah will punish the hypocrite men and women and the mushrik men and women, those who had evil thoughts with regards to Allah, and evil will surround them. وَغَضِبَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَعَنَهُمْ وَأَعَدَّ لَهُمْ جَهَنَّمَ وَسَاءَتْ مَصِيرًا. And Allah is angry with them and He curses them. Of course, cursing not in the sense of swearing and you son of a da-da-da-da, no. Cursing in the sense of la'ana, as in the sense of being displeased and disassociating from that action, as we do, for example, with the killers of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Not in the sense that we say, he was a da-da-da, he was a this and that, and we start swearing at them or something like that. No, la'ana in the sense that we show our displeasure to this action. We disassociate from that action,
What is la'ana then?
as I said, disassociation, tabarru', it is to disassociate from that action and from those people.
Then when we say la'na Allah,
Yeah.
what does la'na of Allah is in this case?
It is to call the anger of God upon them. Yeah. So ghadib Allah, and we want Allah to sort of. Well, we'll talk about what the anger of God means, and we're getting to that.
Okay.
But yeah, we're not giving away the ending. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, as I said, it is a divine quality. Allah Himself becomes angry with them. He curses them, and He will punish them. Yeah. And of course, this is because of their wrong beliefs. ظَانِّينَ بِاللَّهِ ظَنَّ السَّوْءِ. The verses. Those who think evil things with regards to God. The polytheists, the mushriks, and the hypocrites. They have evil ideas of God. So the opposite of Tawheed, this angers Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To think of God as being weak or meek or incapable or da-da-da-da. These are things that anger God if we have these sort of ideas. So wrong aqidah, wrong beliefs can cause the anger of God. Also wrong actions. If we do wrong actions, then that will incur the wrath of God as well. Ya bani Israel, qad anjaynakum min aduwikum. O children of Israel, certainly we saved you from your enemy. وَوَعَدْنَاكُمْ جَانِبَ الطُّورِ الْأَيْمَنِ, and we took the oath from you near the mountain. وَنَزَّلْنَا عَلَيْكُمُ الْمَنَّ وَالسَّلْوَى, and we sent to you the manna and salwa, the foods, the blessings. كُلُوا مِنْ طَيِّبَاتِ مَا رَزَقْنَاكُمْ, eat from the good things that we have sort of blessed you with, given to you as sustenance. وَلَا تَطْغَوْا فِيهِ, but do not exceed therein. Eat, but without excess. Without, enjoy the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without going into excess. فَيَحِلَّ عَلَيْكُمْ غَضَبِي. Then if you do that, if you go into excess, you take away the rights of others to fill your own belly, then my anger will become halal on you. It will become sort of permissible upon you. Yeah? So this incurs wrong actions. Will incur as well. وَمَنْ يَحْلِلْ عَلَيْهِ غَضَبِي فَقَدْ هَوَى. And whoever my anger becomes permissible to him, then he is lost. Yeah?
But we see many people like they have wrong aqidah about God, but this is because of ignorance. Like even in Muslims, most of the Sunnis think that God has hands, and like you are even say in your lectures, and even some Christians are even atheists. Yes. So what about those? They also deserve, like, this is because of their ignorance.
Yeah. Yes, of course. Well, as we mentioned in the beginning, the more knowledge you have, the more responsibility you have. So ignorance without, that is, without the fault of the person that they are ignorant of that thing, that's, of course, not as harmful as willful ignorance, so to speak,
okay.
where you turn away from reminders. Of course, the meaning of kufr in the Quran is very clear, that it is the turning away from the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Of course, even then, even so, even if it is unwillful, it is still harmful. So even if I am a child and I stick my hand in a pot of boiling water, not knowing it's going to hurt me, I'm still going to get hurt. Of course, I'm not as blameworthy as an adult person. If you as an adult see a pot of boiling water is going blah, 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 and it's sitting on a fire, and you put your hand in, I'm saying, well, you're stupid. You deserve what came to you, isn't it? This is your own fault, yeah? But if a child does it, of course, we say, okay, he still got hurt by it, but it's not of course blameworthy in the same sense. So the consequence, of course, will be different as well. But it still, of course, furthers one away from God. So, of course, part of the Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim, as we said, is the ma'arifah as well, to increase us in knowledge, to ask God guide us in knowledge as well, not only in action, but in knowledge as well. Allahumma arini al-haqqa haqqan fa'attabi'at. Oh Allah, show me the truth as truth, so I may follow it. Wal-batila batilan fa'ajtanib. And the falsehood as falsehood, so I may turn away from it. We're running out of time.
Well, what should be... So basically, if when Bibi Fatima Zahra went to the Caliph to get her rights, was she angry at them?
Yeah,
did
of
she
course,
have the
angry
right?
of course, angry at the injustice. Yeah, for sure.
Even if it's somebody else.
Angry in the sense that she started yelling and throwing her scarf off her head, and of course not. This is, of course, the bad type of anger. But angry in the sense that I'm angry at this injustice that has been done. Yeah.
So
We have, even the Sunnis have in the narrations that Fatima alayhi salam died, was angry at Abu Bakr. So even they have in Bukhari, they have this.
Okay. Angry because of the injustice.
Angry of the injustice,
that was faced.
Yeah. The family of the Prophet and the going against the orders of the Prophet, the sort of those who claim to be the closest to him, doing this to his legacy, doing this to his family. And that's why, of course, Karbala we still remember, because it's like the pinnacle of this. You said you loved the Prophet and you followed him, and this is the actions you do. Of course, that angers us, and that's why we disassociate. That's why we do the nine. We disassociate from this action. We don't want to be participants in that, even if it is rida al-qalb, even if it is just being satisfied with it in our hearts.
Again.
وَلَعَنَ اللَّهُ مَنْ سَمِعَتْ ذَلِكَ فَرَضِيَتْ بِهِ. And we read in the ziyarah, and may Allah curse the one who hears what happens to Imam Hussein, فَرَضِيَتْ بِهِ, and was satisfied with it. I said, it's fine that it happened. Even from these persons, we want to disassociate. So my heart is dissatisfied with this action. I'm just going to try to finish this up, and then we can take questions then, because some people might want to leave. Even the prophets got angry as well. So we have, I won't read the verse in Arabic, and we have in Surah Taha, when Musa alayhi salam came back after he went to the mountain, he came back and he saw his people worshipping the calf, and he got angry at them. فَرَجَعَ مُوسَى إِلَىٰ قَوْمِهِ غَضْبَانَ أَسِفًا. He came back to his people angry, غَضْبَانَ أَسِفًا, and of course sorry. And then he took Harun by his hand and he said, didn't I tell you that you should stop them if they're going to do something wrong? And then Harun said that, forgive me, I didn't want you to say that I caused division in the Ummah. I caused division in Banu Israel. So again, we see also the importance of unity being highlighted in that story. Some people sometimes ask, why didn't the Imams do this and this, when they saw the Muslims going astray, etc. The unity amongst the Muslims was so important. Unity amongst the believers was so important that Harun was willing to allow people to worship a calf. Anyways, but as we say, prophets would get angry as well. It's not anger due to falsehood. It's anger because truth, because of justice. Because not that they're hurting Musa when they're worshiping the calf, they're hurting themselves. But it angers him that why are you? After all that God did to you, why are you hurting yourself in this way? And so what is the manifestation of Allah's anger? It is, of course, fully manifested, just like His other attributes, or many of His other attributes, are fully manifested on the Day of Judgment. The ghadab of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the anger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, manifests itself in its true fashion in the Day of Judgment. As we said, the day of separation, when good and evil become separate from one another. We don't have time to read all the verses I've marked down, but if we open Surah Al-Hadid, I think it's 54, 57. It's page 765. I won't read the Arabic anymore because we're running out of time and it's quite long, the verses. But we see very beautifully, and there's other surahs, Surah Al-Waqi'ah as well. If you go and read the beginning of Surah Al-Waqi'ah, you see the similar theme being raised about the day of separation, how it manifests the anger of God upon those who have gone astray from the Salat al-Mustaqim. So here, verse 13 onwards, I'll read the English. The day the hypocrites, men and women, will say to the faithful, please let upon us, that we may glean something from your light. And so remember, hypocrisy was something that Allah's anger came upon those people because of them. Yeah. So when they see the believers, of course, they will ask that they can also walk alongside them and use that light that is guiding the people to the miqat, to the place of hashr, to the place of congregation on the Day of Judgment. So when people get resurrected, they start moving from their graves towards the place of congregation to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of course, in a metaphysical sense, and to be judged. So when they start moving towards there, of course, the journey is a difficult one. The believers will have a light, as we read in the Quran, to guide them on that path. So the hypocrites, they will see some people, I will see you on the Day of Judgment, and I'll say, Ali, oh, you have this light. Can I come with you? We knew each other in life. We were friends, etc. But I was a hypocrite, There's no light for me, and the journey is difficult for me. So I say, can I walk with you, O Ali? Then you will say, they will be told, go back and grope for light. Go away from here. Even though they were friends, even though they knew each other there, they don't want anything to do with each other. The believers do not want to associate with the disbelievers on that day. The disassociation, the tabarru, the ghadab becomes manifest on that day. In this world, good and evil are mixed. They're mixed together. In people and amongst people. But on that day, the Yawm al-Fasl, they get separated. Then there will be set up, and then very physical description of the way that evil and good get separated from each other. Then there will be set up between them a wall with a gate, with mercy on its interior and punishment towards its exterior. So very physically, good and evil will be separated from each other. This was a good person, that was a bad person. They cannot be mixed anymore together. They will call out to them, did we not used to be with you? Were we not friends? Why are you doing this to us? They will say, yes, but you cast yourselves into temptation and you awaited and were doubtful and false hopes deceived you. So bad actions and bad aqidah, false hopes, bad ideas, ظَانِّينَ بِاللَّهِ ظَنَّ السَّوْءِ. Those who had bad ideas, as we read in Surah Al-Fatiha, here the similar idea. وَارْتَبْتُمْ, and you had doubts. And false hopes deceived you until the edict of Allah arrived. Of course, once the Day of Judgment comes, nobody has those doubts anymore. There's no doubts then anymore, but then it's too late. And the deceiver deceived you concerning Allah. So today no ransom shall be taken from you, nor from the faithless. The fire will be your abode. It is your refuge and an evil destination. So this is the manifestation of the ghadab of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And unfortunately, there's many other verses that we could have read. In Surah As-Saffat as well, there's a beautiful description. How people in heaven, they say that, oh, we used to have a friend so-and-so, like Ali and Hussein could be talking on that day and say, oh, what happened to Abbas? We used to know him. They're in heaven enjoying themselves and say, what happened to Abbas? Why is he not here with us? He was friends with us in the world. Then they will look and they will see that person is in hell. And then that person will then ask that, can I get some of the blessing? Send me some water or help me in some way in this difficulty that I'm in. Because of the friendship we used to have. And they say that, no, you are a bad person, you're an evil person, you deserve this judgment. So even if it's a family member, even if it's a close friend, it's a complete disassociation on the Day of Judgment. يَوْمَ يَفِرُّ الْمَرْءُ مِنْ أَخِيهِ وَأُمِّهِ وَأَبِيهِ. On that day, the person will flee from his mother and his father, from his brother and his sister, from his mother, from his wife, from his husband, from his own children. If they see that this is an evil person, they will not want to associate. So this is the meaning of غَضِبَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِمْ, when it truly manifests. That this is someone who is far from the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not the Rahmaniyya, he might have enjoyed that a lot in this world, but he was far from Ar-Rahim. He was not on that Sirat al-Mustaqim. He was going constantly further. And because he's far away from that mercy, he's maghdubi alayhim. And of course, having the wrath of وَمَنْ يَحْلِلْ عَلَيْهِ غَضَبِي فَقَدْ هَوَى. And whoever my wrath becomes halal for him, he is lost. ضَالِينَ. They are وَلَا ضَالِينَ. They are the ones who have been led astray. They're far from that straight path. So, in the final sort of ending of Surah Al-Fatiha, this reminder comes us to as well. The social aspects. What kind of people do we surround ourselves? Who do we look up to? Who are our idols? Who do we strive to be? And this is very important, We often underestimate this, That how important it is to have good exemplars in our lives. And that's why it's so important to study the lives of the prophets, to study the seerah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to study the lives of the Imam. Because if we say, I want to be like them, I want to be on their path, well, you need to know who they were, what kind of a path they walked, how they were, etc., to be able to go on that path. Unfortunately, many times we study, the lives of unimportant people, or people who, we think are blessed with God, but they are not blessed with the important blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They're not enjoying that blessing of Rahim. We study that, how did, Bill Gates or Elon Musk or so-and-so, build their empire and get their riches and so on and so forth. I want to sort of learn how to do that as well. But then we ignore, actually, who's the one whose life I should be studying? Who is the one I should be emulating in my life? Setting up as an idol for myself. Idol, of course, is a bad word, but as an exemplar for myself to be following. And we ask that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides all of us on the straight path and makes us to be with the Prophet and the Imams on the Day of Judgment. ببركة الصلوات على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وجل فرجهم.
1 hour, sorry guys.
جزاك الله Abbas.
At least we finished it.
If you were to wrap it up again, what would God's wrath be again?
Being removed from the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
So it's the absence of the rahmah.
Yeah, it's the absence of the rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That, of course, we have in Surah Taha that the disbelievers will ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that لِمَ حَشَرْتَنِي أَعْمَى وَقَدْ كُنْتُ بَصِيرًا, that why did you resurrect me as blind and I used to be a seeing person, I used to have eyesight, why now I'm being resurrected and I'm blind? قال كذلك أتتك آياتنا فنسيتها فكذلك اليوم تنسى. It is similar to the way in which my signs came to you and you forgot them, you turned away from them, you were willfully ignorant of them, you turned a blind eye to them, as we say in English. Yeah? And today you are forgotten. This is the meaning of the punishment, as I said. The meaning of hell is being removed from the mercy of Allah. Why should eyesight is a blessing. Why do you expect that I should give you this blessing to you? Did you respect the blessings that I gave you in this world? Did you abide by my commandment? Did you remember me? And now you want me to remember you? So, this is the ghadab of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just removing His blessings,
That's the punishment.
This is the worst punishment that the wife gives to the husband, isn't it? The silent treatment. I won't talk to you. Then you know you're in trouble, isn't it? He doesn't want to talk to you, you know you're in trouble. Being ignored. Turning away from. So this is then you know she's really angry. She's yelling at you. Still, we can work this out. When she stops talking to you, then you're in the doghouse.
غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. So المغضوب and ضالين, is it to a specific kind of people? Or is it general?
We have narrations that the maghdubi alayhim is the Jews and the ضالين is the Christians.
Yeah.
But these are just, of course, instances. Not all Christians, not all Jews, but it's just an example of an instance of people who earned the wrath of God because of their actions. Or people who went astray after guidance, and not again all of them, but some of them. But anyone, even a Muslim or person who says I'm a Muslim, can incur the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But anyone who has incurred the wrath of God is certainly astray. Yeah, so these go hand in hand.
Those who reject truth, for example.
Yeah, this is what anger, as I said, the anger of God comes either because of bad actions or bad thoughts about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, evil sort of aqidah.
Isn't it?
In hand, usually. So you have bad ideas, if you think that, for example, you have a bad idea about God, that there is no day of judgment, there is no day of being accounted for my action. That's a bad idea.